What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Beers and. Today, we're going to be talking about beers and neon.
I
buddy.
like that.
Yeah, neon.
Neon.
It's a gas.
It is a fun subject.
Yeah.
See, I was going on the idea of playing on the word of gas.
I just love gas. Like
Do you really?
noble gases.
Oh, I thought you meant like you enjoy gasoline.
I enjoy the
admittedly,
smell.
I love the smell of gasoline.
I enjoy the smell of gasoline.
Second only to diesel.
You like diesel?
Oh my God.
More.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I could pick the difference.
Oh, you absolutely can.
Yeah, and then
yeah. Oh, when you used to walk out of the elementary school and there was that entire... Oh my God. All right, this explains a lot of
Welcome
who
to
I am.
Beer and Smells, everyone. My name is Alex, and this odor sniffing gentleman to my right is Nick.
Hello, Alex.
Hello, sir.
God almighty. They say that like if you huff gasoline, it puts holes in your brain. So my guess is that that's probably what happened.
Oh, that's like chlorofluorocarbons to the ozone layer.
Yeah, chlorofluorocarbons indeed.
See, good old CFCs. We're not talking about the ozone today. We're talking about beer.
We're talking about beer.
Yeah, we're another one from Skygazer Watercolors. Our second watercolors.
It is our second watercolors.
This one is raspberry, blackberry, mango, and peach.
This is going to be an interesting one. I feel like we haven't had a nice sour in a little bit.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a couple
We've
episodes.
done a couple milkshake IPAs, stouts, some regular IPAs.
Yeah.
It's time to go back to sours.
I think so. Before we go ahead and get into things, if you are not listening on... Oh, my God. All right, let's try that again. If you are listening to us right now and you have not subscribed to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, wherever that is, go ahead and click that subscribe button.
Go do that. Go find us at Beers and Podcast. Welcome to the Beers and Podcast. You can also find us on YouTube. Come watch us. Same thing, Beers and Podcast. Or if you're feeling froggy, Instagram at Beers and Podcast.
Yep, Twitter at beersand1, or shoot us an email at beersandpodcast@gmail.com.
Who cares about Twitter?
We did all that stuff. Look at that. Who cares about Twitter?
Who cares about Twitter?
I don't know. I
Twitter's for trolls.
Twitter's for trolls.
Yeah. So we're talking about neon, we said today.
Yeah.
That was just a randomness for
Was it
me.
really? Yeah, I was gonna
just
say, I don't
randomness.
know.
Because I actually am fascinated with all the elements. But noble gases are cool too.
Okay.
Like
I don't know if I can. I'm not always good with those. I know I was okay in chemistry. We were just talking about chemistry.
We
I don't know if, but yeah, I was good with some of those, not good with others.
I had Mr. T. Toscano.
No, I had Miss Wu.
Oh, I never had her.
Yeah, we love Miss Wu. Okay. Ready?
I'm ready.
So I went through and watched the National College Championships on Jeopardy because I love that shit.
Okay.
And I believe it was the final Jeopardy question in the finals round. And it was, which element was listed to the periodic table by a French chemist named after the country, like named after the country of origin or something
I have
like that.
no idea.
Gallium.
Oh.
Because it was the Gauls that had originally inhabited the area of France.
Well, my brain went right to Galileo.
Oh, all right. That's okay.
But also not right.
One girl put down francium. That's all right. She said, she was like, I know it wasn't right, but I couldn't think of anything else.
That's fair.
Which I appreciate. So
take your best guess.
Listen, I good on her. She did a lot better than I did.
If you don't know, take your best guess.
Exactly.
Let's
I know.
What?
No, you go.
No, you please.
I was going to say, I know you were thinking of a question.
I was. And then as I went to go talk about it, I forgot.
Do you want me to go through a couple party fouls that I've got?
Oh,
over
yeah.
here?
Actually, we talked about this last episode, I believe.
Correct.
And you said you had quite a few, so I'm interested to see how badly we fucked up.
Well, I know that I've got at least one party foul and maybe at least two clarifications. So I'll go for that.
Fair enough.
If that counts at all. So the
Fair enough.
The one party foul in particular was that I had described the bad smoking mom move and said that you had to stand with the sliding door roughly in the middle of your clavicle. And I realized that it was not your clavicle, it was your sternum. Okay, with your sternum. All right, for those bad smoking moms out there that were thinking, that's not correct.
Good old anatomy.
So I wanted to make sure that I clarified that. The second thing that I wanted to touch on was we had discussed, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
We had discussed about Chase canceling credit card debt.
Oh, yeah.
I did want to go ahead and check up on that, and that is, in fact, correct. So what had happened was so Chase Bank, part of I'm reading this from a USA Today article from August of 2019. Chase, part of the New York-based JP Morgan Chase & Co., closed all credit card accounts in the country, meaning in Canada, in March of 2018. Originally, customers were told to continue paying their debt, but the company confirmed Friday, meaning in August, to USA Today that the debt was now canceled. Quote, Chase made the decision to exit the Canadian credit card market. As part of the exit, all credit card accounts were closed on or before March 8, 2018. A further business decision has been made to forgive all outstanding balances in order to complete the exit, according to Maria Martinez, the Vice President of Communications for Chase Credit Card Services.
I'm so curious to know what that number is that they forgave. If you don't have it, it's okay. I'm just like, in my own mind, I'm like, wow, like what did Chase give up? Was it a lot? Did they really take a hit?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. It's not listed, at least in this particular article at all, but I'm assuming that, again, based on how much they usually charge and like interest and
millions
whatnot.
and millions of dollars.
Oh, absolutely.
Had to have been.
And the last thing that I wanted to clarify on was I don't remember why, and I didn't write anything down specifically. We were talking about the Star Spangled Banner at one point.
Yeah.
And I had mentioned that there were better verses, and I wanted to clarify that there are. And in particular, it's actually the last verse in particular. And it is, "Oh, thus be it ever when freemen shall stand between their loved home and the war's desolation. Blessed with victory and peace, may the heaven-rescued land praise the power that hath made and preserved us a nation. Then conquer we must, when our cause it is just, and this be our motto, in God we trust, and the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph shall wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave."
I just became significantly more patriotic listening to that last verse.
Listen,
that is solid.
There's another song that came before, if anything, called Hail Columbia, which is significantly better. I just want to read a quick verse.
Okay.
This is the second verse of Hail Columbia, which is now the song that is played before the vice president enters places, but this was the unofficial national anthem before the Star-Spangled Banner. Okay. It's a long party fouls, but, shut the hell up.
It's worth it.
Immortal patriots, rise once more, defend your rights, defend your shore. Let no rude foe with impious hand, invade the shrine where sacred lies, of toil and blood the well-earned prize. While offering peace sincere and just, in heavens we place a manly trust, that truth and justice will prevail, and every scheme of bondage fail. Firm, united let us be, rallying around our liberty, as a band of brothers joined, peace and safety we shall find.
Wow. Just listening to that could be like a plot for another, what's that Nicolas Cage movie?
National Treasure.
Yeah, that could be another, like, if you reread that and look into it for like clues for treasure, there's a lot.
100%. 100%.
Interesting.
So much better.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's the worst.
Let's not get into it again.
So those are some party fouls.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, at least, you know what? At least we're on top of it.
Yes, we are.
At least you were on top of it.
Well, yeah, every once in a while.
I remembered my question.
What do you got?
I'm not much of a reader.
Okay.
So this is kind of a selfish one. Can you suggest an author to me?
Robert Ludlum.
Oh, okay.
Robert Ludlum is my favorite author of all time.
What kind of, what style?
He does spy thrillers.
Oh, I should have known that was coming.
So he's the author of the Bourne series, the Bourne Supremacy, the Bourne Legacy, but he has an infinite number of titles and books. The Aqua Teen Progression, the Maltese Conquest,
Never heard of any
the
of these.
Hallcroft Covenant. They're nothing but stories that just take place in Marrakesh and in parts of Minsk and Casablanca
Minsk.
I become so enthralled in his books. I love a good spy.
I definitely thought you were going to say Charles Bukowski.
I'm not.
That's what I thought you.
Sure if I know
Charles. Is that not his name?
It might be. I'm not very good with that kind of stuff.
Who wrote Sex, Drugs, and Cocoa Puffs?
Chuck Klosterman.
Chuck Klosterman. Who's Charles Bukowski?
I have no idea. I have a couple of.
Made that name up.
Klosterman's nonfiction are pretty good. He did write a fiction novel. His first one was actually. It was either his first or his second. I did read, which was quite interesting. It was called, if I'm not mistaken, I think I have it. It's called The Visible Man, and I'm not giving anything away necessarily, but it's written in the form of like diary entries between a therapist and her accounts of dealing with this one patient.
I like that.
And this patient who claims to have created essentially like an invisibility cloak of sorts. And what he does, and again, I'm not giving anything, this is everything you can read on the inside cover. He kind of breaks into people's houses just to observe them because he's fascinated from this very voyeuristic, there's nothing like sexual
creepy
necessarily.
though. Still kind of creepy.
Yeah, just kind of like this idea of like, I want to see, or I'm fascinated by, like, what is it that people like? What is it? The Heisenberg effect? Like, you know, that when you're observed, you act differently.
Right.
And that was one of his books. Very.
See, and now I feel much more obligated to check Chuck Klosterman out.
Yeah.
Who's the Ludlum?
Oh, Robert Ludlum. Yeah. Ludlum
Robert
just
Ludlum.
writes, like, if he was to go ahead and like describe something, he's got if he can tack on a couple of, extra adjectives to go ahead and describe something, he will. So
Nice.
Sometimes it's a little flowery, but like, just
that's okay though.
Love that. Like, there have been times, and then I'll, we can move on, but there have been times where I've actually had like my heart racing, where I was like, oh my God, he's going to get caught. There's no way he's going to get his way out of this right now. He's been shot. Everybody's surrounding him at this point in time. And the train to Athens is going to wind up leaving, and he's not going to be able to get on the train to get to Athens. And now the entire new world order is going to come to fruition. And I don't know what's going to happen.
You get like Christina does when she reads. Like, she gets like very into the story, anxious for the characters.
I do. And to me, that's a sign of a good author.
Absolutely.
But I am the type of person where when I find an author, I will read all of their books then.
She does the same thing, similar.
The last one I can recommend then, and I'm sorry now, but
No, this is fine.
He does mysteries, but they're much more like humor related. Like, they're very funny books. Carl Hyacin, and he's done a number of books called like Sick Puppy, The Nature Girl. And it started because I had picked up a teeny tiny little book called, I don't know if it's called The Rat Bastard or something like that. He's from Florida, and his entire goal was and he was a journalist, and his entire goal was to get himself banned from Disney World because he thinks that Disney is a terrible, like, entity.
Sure.
Yeah. And I just love the ideas the entire time he referred to Mickey as like the rat.
I love it.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot of conspiracies behind Disney,
should do a
and
Disney episode.
we should. Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot. Like, whoa. They have specific colors that they paint their buildings called like low visibility blue and out of sight green or out of the way green, so that people who are in the park don't notice like the staff buildings.
Oh my God.
Like, Disney's like deep. Disney is deep in the meta.
they're dark.
Yeah,
too. They've got some dark shit that's happened there too.
We'll do a Disney episode
Absolutely.
for sure. Okay, great information about the books. I love that. One of the last authors I've ever read was Agatha Christie.
Oh, okay.
One of my favorites. And then There Were None is my favorite book.
Oh, then
probably from her.
Then you'll enjoy some of at least
Ludlum.
like Ludlums and Hyacinths as well. Like they've got. I'm like you. Like I need to be actively engaged.
Yeah.
In the
I need
book.
a story that's keeping me like entertained.
Yeah, I want to be solving something while the character
You're
is
right.
as well.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, let's try this bad boy.
Let's get into it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's still good.
That is still good. I know that we were a little worried based on the canning date.
Ooh.
I feel like the sour
That's
may
still
have,
good.
have tapered off just a little bit.
I think it lost some of its oomph, I think.
But it's still just enough to where I would still say that it's got a decent amount of that sour nature one would expect to.
Like if you served this to me and didn't tell me when it was canned and was like, this is a fresh beer.
Yeah, I wouldn't know the difference. It's actually quite nice.
It is nice.
It's got a full mouthfeel. I'm getting the raspberry. I'm definitely getting the mango. And what was the other flavor that was supposed to be in here?
Blackberry and peach. I'm getting the peach a little bit, but it's kind of masked by the blackberry and the raspberry.
And I think that it's a little too close to the mango as well.
It is, which is weird because they don't taste the same.
Not particularly, but I think that when a peach becomes overly ripe and it gets into that it becomes a little bit mushier and as a result a little bit sweeter, doesn't have as much of that kind of stone fruit tang. I think it does start to make its way into like mango territory. It's nice.
Okay, so there's milk sugar in here.
Okay.
And there is vanilla. I'm not really
that
getting
I
so
do.
much of...
Oh, you see, I feel like I am getting that. Yeah. Yeah, that with the mango.
I think it's hidden for me.
Yeah.
You know, I just had I had another Treehouse beer, and that one specifically has a shit ton of vanilla in it.
Yeah.
And like that one, you almost get, it's like a candle. It's like it's like peach and vanilla, like woof.
Was it too much though?
It was too much vanilla.
Really?
Yeah, which I've never had to say before.
Yeah, I was gonna say because when it's like a vanilla bean flavor, I know that I like that.
Well, apparently in the description of that beer, we'll get back to the beer we're having. They steep whole vanilla beans in.
Oh, you got to be careful with
beer.
that then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
because a single vanilla bean
Yeah.
is.
So who knows how many they put it, giant mash tun, but whatever. This is very drinkable. I do not remember what it tasted like when I first bought it. It was a while ago.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty happy with how it tastes now. It's actually 7%.
Okay.
So it's not like, it's still pretty good. Never stop looking up.
I was gonna say
That's
I was
what it
trying to
says on
read
here.
what it said before.
Yep.
Never stop looking up. I like that, except
like
when you're driving.
Yeah, right. I like the clouds.
Yeah,
Like the
it's a
cool,
good
like,
can art.
rainbowy kind of clouds with like a mouth, like a star mouth.
I think it's a satellite.
Oh, that
Or
is
yeah,
a satellite.
a satellite or
That's
one
a satellite
or,
dish. No,
or
you're
a
right. That's a satellite dish.
Not even. Is it a satellite dish or like the big telescopes, like one of the big.
Oh,
big,
yeah, it could be.
I think it might even be
Could
one
be.
of those.
That
Yeah.
makes sense. Skygazer.
Skygazer.
That
Yeah.
makes sense. So, interestingly enough, and I don't know, it must say this on all of their beers. Skygazer Brewing Company is the brewing company.
Mm-hmm.
Watercolors is the name of the beer.
Correct.
Canned by 12%. Brewed and packaged by 12%. That's the name of the packaging company, I assume.
Okay.
In North Haven, Connecticut.
Okay.
That seems strange to me.
Well, I guess it's like, you've got they probably just don't distribute their own. You've got to go with an outside distributor.
Okay.
Might be
That's
what it
fair.
is.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
You know what? That makes sense because a while ago when I was drinking like Goose Island, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, Goose Island's amazing. I mean, which at the time it was. At that time, I remember seeing on the bottle that it's distributed by Anheuser-Busch, I think.
Right. So I guess it's one of those deals where if your facilities are big enough to brew, but canning is such a cumbersome sometimes like
that's a whole
process. Yeah, especially if you're trying to distribute it like on a large scale. So my guess is that that's what it's all about there.
Okay.
What are you gonna throw on it? You think?
I'm not entirely sure yet.
Yeah,
I don't know whether I want it to be more punchy, or if I am enjoying the fact that it's less.
I'm in a similar boat because I keep waffling between this idea of, is it going to hit or break a 4?
Maybe
but
just
no. You see, and that's my thing is
maybe
like,
just
I don't think it is. And as a result, then I'm thinking, okay, how much lower then do I realistically go?
Right.
It's a pleasant beer.
The raspberry and peach are very nice together.
I'm loving the mango in this.
Yeah, and the mango kind of follows it up at the end and rounds it out.
Yeah, I like it quite a bit. I think I do want a little bit more of the sour, perhaps.
Really? Because I'm getting a nice sour in the front from the blackberry and raspberry.
I'm getting it in the front, but I'm not getting any of the linger. And I like a little.
It softens with the vanilla.
Yeah.
It does soften.
Again, to quote the Cranberries, do you have to? Do you have to? Do you have to let it linger?
I don't even understand how that band was a thing.
Because the 90s.
Oh, man. Like, I'm probably going to offend so many people, but she does not have a good voice.
Well, 34 and a half episodes have been phenomenal to record with you.
See, I told you I was going to offend someone. She doesn't have a good voice. All right, I'm just going to point out one thing. Zombie.
Yeah.
And the upward inflection at the end of the word. I agree to disagree. Bummer.
Yeah, I don't know how to even respond right now, but
We should probably just move on.
their tanks and their bombs and their bombs.
It's not
and
good.
their Yes, it is.
Have
I've listened to some of your music, Alex.
I'm not saying it's amazing.
Oh,
just like
I'm so angry.
To each their
I'm
own.
so triggered. Really?
Yeah, I mean,
We'll have to get you into some deeper cuts, maybe.
maybe. There are definitely, I prefer Linger
Okay.
over Zombie.
All right.
I will say that.
Okay.
And I think it's a much better song.
All right. Okay. I'm going to go with 3.75 on this beer. I got to bring it back to something.
I feel like I'm right there, like 3.85.
Yeah. By the way, this is not going to come between us.
Sure.
I won't let that.
What's not going to come between us? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Your disrespect.
I really want to give it a 4.05, but there's something holding me back.
You know what's funny? And that's been my issue is because I kept thinking if I break 4, I don't want to give it like a 4.1 because I don't think it reaches that
I don't think it hit there.
point. No, so that's why I think as a result, again, it's gonna stay sub 4, and as a result, a little bit lower than that. Yeah.
Yeah. 3.9. 3.5. It's pretty good.
It's a good beer.
Don't hear what we're not saying.
Exactly. There are other sours I think that are more nuanced and stick out a little bit.
Definitely
more. And at the same time, I do believe that there are like certain ales that could have probably the same flavor palette. And again, stand out above this as well. So
remember we had super overripe?
Yes.
I feel like if super overripe was these flavors,
Yes. Much better
then we'd have something.
Much, much better.
You know, I will say that I think we're both enjoying this one much more than the first one with the cotton candy.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, this one's definitely not nearly as sweet.
No, yeah, this
It's a
one's
much nicer, fuller sour.
Much nicer
than we're used to.
Yeah.
I didn't say it, but it's a Berliner Weiss.
Oh, yes.
So that seems to be the style that a Skygazer goes with.
I think so. Yeah, and again, it's a good mix. It's
good.
I would pick it up based on the can art, and I would not be disappointed. Which to me is a 3.75.
Agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what do you got for us? We're getting into neon lights.
I have some really fun stuff.
I'm
actually very excited to share.
I will preface now by saying I don't know why, but the entire time I was doing research on this, oh my God, my legs! I'm so sorry. So sorry.
That old age.
The entire time I was doing this, I kept thinking that there was I've been singing like Last Dance in my head by Donna Summer.
Last Dance for Love?
Yes, and they don't mention neon lights, but I just kept thinking, in the beginning it's dim all the lights, and I don't know why, but in my mind I keep thinking it's like neon lights, sweet darling. I'm like, no, Nick, you know that she doesn't talk about neon lights. But this whole time I've just been thinking, dim all the neon lights.
That's what we call ADD. I think.
I'm having a problem today.
Okay, how about this? Let's talk about Joe's Diner.
Oh my God!
Eat at
Joe's. Famous.
Right. Eat at Joe's.
Oh wow! Good.
According to me, the most iconic neon sign.
Wow.
Because you've seen it everywhere.
In every time, Wild E. Coyote is blown up. Absolutely.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Good call.
So Joe's Diner on Wikipedia is termed a placeholder name because that's the joke behind Joe's Diner, is that it's mostly just a fictional place.
Oh.
So typically it's used in jest to describe like small businesses, family-owned businesses, in contrast to like a larger franchise.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, I kind of like picked this up as, because you see it everywhere. And
yeah.
It's a joke all the time, like eat at Joe's.
Eat at Joe's.
Right. So the famous sign, eat at Joe's, is really just a made-up tagline for like one of these small would-be businesses.
Huh.
So this is all made up. Eat at Joe's, in fact, was a frequently used gag in Warner Brothers and MGM cartoons in the 1940s.
Oh, it was both of them?
Both.
Okay.
Routinely used when a neon sign or complicated tubing was in view for the cartoon.
Yeah.
This is pretty much what they used exclusively. However, there are some places in the world that are really named Joe's Diner.
Oh.
And there are some that were named such before all of this happened.
Oh, okay. That worked out well for them.
So one of the most famous ones is Joe's Diner in Lee, Massachusetts. Do you know who Norman Rockwell is?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
So that's so funny. I was just thinking about that yesterday.
This was the subject of Norman Rockwell's work, The Runaway.
Oh, wait. That was supposed to take place at a Joe's Diner?
I guess. Yeah, I've never seen it or
you have.
read it. I have.
It's the little kid standing or sitting next to the police officer.
Oh,
yeah. That's the Runaway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that makes sense because this is what's next. So he quotes about this. One thing Lee had going for it was Joe's Diner. And in a sense, Joe's Diner was Lee. Without too much of a stretch, you could even say that the diner was America. It goes on to say, in 1958, what became a famous Norman Rockwell image, what you were just talking about, a friendly cop and a runaway boy, a hobo's bindle at his feet, eyeing each other from adjacent stools. And Joe is the guy behind the counter.
Oh, no way.
It's supposed to be Joe, with the counterman looking on. And this was illustrated, I didn't know, on the cover of Saturday Evening Post. For a while, I think.
Yeah.
So that's where this all came from. This was really just a joke, but it's so famous. We've seen it cartoons. You've seen it in movies. You've probably seen it in picture books.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Picture books when we were kids, we've seen it everywhere. And it really was just a joke.
When you said it, not only did I think of it, but it reminded me of when we were in school. At one point, our one roommate, Mark, had come home with a neon sign that said Burger Joe's. And it was put in our front window, and all of our other friends used to know when we were home and when we were having people, like when the door was open, we would flip the light on. So we would get text that would say like, is Burger Joe's open? Is Burger Joe's open?
I love that.
And yeah, that was, oh man.
Eat at Joe's.
Eat at Joe's. Yeah. That's wonderful.
Too cool.
So to go with that just a little bit. I'll start with this. Are you familiar with Vegas Vic then?
I don't believe so, actually.
So Vegas Vic is the giant cowboy in Las Vegas. He's a neon sign and mascot for the former Pioneers Club. He's the cigar smoking, thumb.
Oh, that's
pointing.
Vegas Vic?
His name is Vegas Vic.
Okay.
So initially, Vegas Vic was designed in 1947, and the original sign was so designed and well liked that a neon version was then commissioned. So it was designed by a guy by the name of Pat Denner. And when the sign was complete, it was completed with a waving arm, a moving cigarette, and every 15 minutes, it would say on recording, "Howdy, partner," which I think is wonderful.
I've seen this in a movie. Somebody drove through the sign.
Oh, 100% you've seen it.
Yep.
So there was actually a movie production going on in Las Vegas in 1966, and the recording was deemed to be like intrusive. So they actually wound up stopping the recording during the production. And it was turned off then and not turned back on for nearly 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like someone just forgot to, I guess, flip the switch. But then it stopped working completely in 2006. And the waving arm stopped waving then in 1991.
Oh,
and
so
they
sad.
never fixed it.
Oh.
So the guy Denner, though, however, was responsible for also designing another one. There are 3 cowboys that are like neon cowboys in Nevada. So he also designed one called Wendover Will for the State Line Casino in 1952. I'm not sure if I can bring up a quick image, perhaps,
Sure.
of good old Wendover. And Wendover Will is quite a big fella.
Yeah, I don't recall ever having heard that.
No, I didn't know that he had a name, but he is kind of pointing downwards. Wendover
I've
Will.
seen that.
Yeah, you've probably seen it. He's there he is, all nice and kind of like lit up and what have you.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Yeah, another big guy. Again, pretty impressive. So this was, again, originally at the State Line Casino, like I said, in 1952. And it included, it includes over 1,180 feet of neon tubing.
Oh, my goodness.
And the caption underneath reads, "This is the place where the West begins," which is apparently a nod to like Brigham Young.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I get that makes sense. Okay.
Right,
Because of that line. Is that why? Where the West begins? No. Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
Brigham Young, he was the guy that Brigham Young was like a famous Mormon.
Oh, I was thinking of something else.
Oh yeah, like
that
this
makes
Brigham
no sense
Young,
to me.
yeah,
Then.
Brigham Young University and whatnot. Yeah. So eventually, what wound up happening was that there was a town of West Wendover that was incorporated in 1991, and as a result, then it was like moved over there, and Wendover Will was named by Guinness as the world's largest mechanical cowboy. Then,
Oh, shoot.
right?
Wendover Will.
Wendover Will. Yeah. I am all of a sudden I was like looking through so many of these like images and whatnot. And again, I think you and I have spoken about this before, and I don't remember in what topic or context, but almost like nostalgic for a time that I never knew to begin with. Like I was looking at all these neon signs and I was like, oh my God,
Right.
look at these things all up in lights. These are great.
Well, yeah, because they're iconic. Like, even though you've seen them, like, even if it's just in passing, you've seen it. You know, like, how many neon signs are innovative at this point or, like, new?
Well, what's interesting is that, and I've got this, I'll get into some of the specifics a little bit later, but in terms of like large scale neon signs, there are not nearly as many around as we might think. So as a result, I mean, those folks that are living, down south or out in the middle of the country, God help you, who knows how much they're exposed to it.
Fair enough. Well, apparently, neon is one of the more rare noble gases to acquire.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and this was when I started like getting into it. And I'm about to get into like neon gas. When they first started to mine it, I guess, from the air, if you want to call it that, it was the hardest one to get for whatever reason. But then some guy actually made a bunch of neon as a byproduct of his company. I think it was in like 1917. I actually didn't go into it, but he had like an air liquefaction company.
Okay.
And let me go into it and it'll make more sense.
Okay.
So noble gases. Noble gases are colorless, odorless, and they're inert, which means that they don't have chemical reactions under given circumstances.
Right.
They're pretty much how they are. That's how they are. There's no isotopes really.
Boring.
Yeah, they're boring. They're noble. Neon gas is 2/3 the density of air.
Oh.
So it's actually quite heavy.
Yeah, it's heavy.
Because if you think about it, air is made up of oxygen, nitrogen, neon, argon, all that little stuff.
Yeah.
For neon to be 2/3 of it. It was discovered in 1898.
I was going to say it's fairly new.
Yeah, it was one of the last 3 noble gases to be discovered. One of the few remaining inert elements in dry air. 2 British scientists, one guy, William Ramsay, and the other guy, Morris Travers, were the ones that discovered this. Like I said, inert just means it doesn't really go under chemical reactions. It was discovered when Ramsay chilled a sample of air until it turned into a liquid. He then warmed it up, and as he warmed it up, he was able to capture the gas as it boiled off. So then how they did this was they were able to separate it somehow. Because when they discovered neon, they also discovered krypton, like almost on back-to-back days.
Oh, wow.
So
busy week.
And yeah, and then they were able to trap it in these containers, glass containers, whatever. And how they figured out that it was different was that when they shined a light through it, they noticed that neon specifically gave off a red-orange glow.
Ooh.
Unlike any of the other gases that they had seen so far. So it's a really fancy term. It's called spectroscopic discharge. That's a fancy way to say by way of illumination. Like that's how they figured it out.
Sounds dirty.
It does sound a little dirty.
Yeah.
So he warmed it up. It looked red when they shined a light near it. Fast forward a little bit to 1910. Some guy, George Claude, demonstrated modern neon lighting by way of a sealed tube of neon. So kind of like what neon signs are.
Yeah, what we see now.
Exactly. Briefly, he tried to sell these tubes for domestic lighting. He thought that since it was so bright, the intensity of the light, that it would sell very well. But it didn't, because people didn't like the red glow that it gave off.
I mean, it does make everything just a little bit sexier, if anything.
It does, but it's very... You ever see that Seinfeld episode of Kramer
and
Charlie's Chicken?
Charlie's Chicken.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have that red light. It's actually really funny. 2 years later, however, Claude's business associate, George Claude's associate, began selling neon tubes as eye-catching advertising signs. And this was the birth of the neon sign industry. Instant success. People were buying these up because they were eye-catching in a way that no other signs were at this time. So anywhere that had a neon sign, people were more drawn to. So it was almost like a marketing thing, kind of like a basic marketing.
Absolutely.
Then, when I read that, I was like, if neon is red, how do they get the different colors?
Yeah, I was going to say that I don't think I'm familiar with at all. Yeah.
All they do is add the other noble gases in small amounts.
Oh, is that what it is?
So mercury apparently gives off a blue glow. So they add in mercury for a little bit of blue.
Okay.
And then I think it was argon or krypton give off a whitish yellow glow. So they throw a little bit of that in for things. There was one that gives off a lavender glow. I don't remember which one it was. But so they add in the gases to neon. And that's how they get the different colors.
That's awesome.
Because they all reflect light differently.
Right. I didn't know the science aspect of it in that regard.
I had to get into it. I had to know.
It's interesting you say that, because so I had found a little bit about some of the museums. There are 2 main museums as a result. So there's the National Neon Sign Museum, which was opened only in 2018. So
wow,
it's
really
fairly new. Yeah. It is a 20,000 square foot area. Jeez. It's a huge place.
With neon signs.
Filled with neon sites. It's from this, curated by this guy, David Benko. And he had been in the industry for a while. He trained how to, make them himself. He had his own advertising
neon
company.
sign industry.
Oh, yes. So it's interesting that you had said it, is that he makes the claim that neon lights are so important and had completely changed the face essentially of commercialism and the advertising industry and agency. One of the things that he had claimed that I thought was kind of interesting was that the most amount of money that was spent on neon lights happened to be during the Depression, which I thought was quite interesting. I don't know if that was to boost or get.
So interesting you said that, because something that I didn't dive into that I thought would be fun to do.
Yeah.
I was in an article, and one of the headings of a section was, and obviously what you were talking about was a little bit before that, but it spoke on the importance of neon tubes during World War II.
Oh, really?
Or like right after World War II.
Huh.
So I wonder if those two things are correlated or not.
Yeah, we'll have to look into it.
Yeah.
We'll come back around to that one then.
Absolutely.
So the National Neon Sign Museum is not to be confused with the Neon Museum, which was founded in, again, I would still say fairly recently, in 1996.
That's pretty new.
Yeah, in Las Vegas.
It's younger than we are.
That is true. And it was founded because you're familiar with the Sands, the old Sands sign.
Oh, yeah.
So it was founded because of the fact is that the Sands sign that was eventually, it was replaced in 1980. And when it was replaced, they didn't have anywhere to go ahead and store the old Sand sign, so it was scrapped. So people were like really upset about that. So as a result, they went ahead and they built this museum.
That's so random.
And then just to tie it up, if anything, in terms of like neon signs, at least for what I have here, is like we discussed quite a bit about Vegas in general, or at least I did. So neon in New York, I thought
Tons of it. Tons.
So the first neon sign was actually introduced in the city in 1924. So it was, right about the time when it had already gained in popularity in the UK. So some of the earliest signs advertised like Lofts Candy and Willys Overland Motors in Times Square, and
nice.
The latter of which, Willys Overland Motors, considered to be like the first roof sign in Times Square as well. And then according to this one author, Thomas Rinaldi, he's the author of a book called New York Neon. Let me throw a couple numbers at you and let's see first. So he claims that between 1923 and 1955, roughly, how many neon signs do you think were installed in the city? And again, at this point, you can tell like we're talking larger marquees, larger advertising.
17,300 signs. Too many.
Go higher.
Oh, really? Wow. 21,000.
75,000 neon signs.
Wow. Over 30-year period now? Okay.
40-year
period.
Now, conversely, roughly how many do you think remain?
Oh, half.
Even less.
Wow.
The claim,
half of half.
Yeah, even less. The claim is that roughly, the thought is between only about 200 and 300 of those.
Of the 75,000
Of the 75,000 remain
you mean
at
today?
this point.
You're talking about today?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
I wonder why that is.
It seems like it was just a matter of, and who knows, when the mindset may change, but it really does seem like it's a matter of business goes out and, these are kind of thrown to the wayside. At this point, it does seem, because part of the article did look at actually a business that very recently closed, had been essentially like an establishment, but again, particularly due to the pandemic, was kind of finally pushed under. So I don't know now, like, is the mindset going to change? Is there going to be a collector that's going to say, I want that. Like, I've got to have that before anything else.
It's interesting because if you think about it, those specifically, like, if you think about it in terms of waste, like having to throw that away, you're exposing neon to the atmosphere if you break it.
Right.
It's glass.
Mm-hmm.
It's strange. It's a strange thing to have to, like, get rid of.
Yeah. Just for reference, if anything, the two sources, in addition to, naturally, my friend and yours, Wikipedia, there's a New York Post article from Zachary Cousin, and an article from Road Trippers magazine by Michelle Harris.
Nice. Michelle Harris, good friend of the show.
Good friend of the show.
Good on opposite day. All right, this is my last little bit here. I went in a entirely different direction. I wanted to talk about high visual clothing.
Oh.
PPE, personal protective neon clothing.
Yeah. Oh, good on you. I didn't even think of that
yeah.
either. I didn't know that was neon.
Yeah. Technically, it's considered neon.
Huh.
And let me tell you why. So PPE, personal protective equipment, plays an important role keeping job sites safe, workers safe, keeping them moving efficiently, all that sort of stuff. High vis clothing, as it's said in the industry.
Oh, I was going to say.
High vis. reduces the risk of injuries and gives you the peace of mind to get your job done.
I agree.
If you're working out in the night, it makes you think you're safe, right? Construction workers, emergency responders, firefighters, policemen, just like a small fraction of, the careers that use
Rely
this
on those.
protective. Yeah.
The first thing I thought about was actually like crossing guards.
Crossing guards, people who work on like lines, like power lines.
Oh, yeah.
It's everywhere.
Huh.
And even like I could personally tell you personal stories, even from when I used to work at Costco.
Oh,
we
yeah.
had the vest when we were bringing a forklift down onto the floor.
God
safety.
forbid.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So high-vis clothing was created in the 1930s. Dude by the name of Bob Switzer.
Yes.
Great name.
Yeah.
Fantastic name.
You were out again all night with Bob Switzer. Lay off me.
He sounds like a rapscallion.
He does.
Yeah. He had a very unfortunate accident.
Oh, God.
Shit. It left him with impaired eyesight.
Oh.
Because of a workplace injury.
Don't tell me it was due to like neon lights because that would be terrible.
No. Actually, this pushed him to create personal protective equipment because it was like kind of like an injury that shouldn't have happened. If the proper precautions were taken, he would still be okay. And actually, it went on to say this prohibited him from continuing his dream of being a doctor.
Oh.
So then he flipped the switch and he went to go create personal protective equipment. So he contacted his brother Joe, who at the time...
Bob and Joe Switzer.
Yep. Who at the time, who had been for years working with fluorescent lights and chemicals. Like he's a chemist. Talks to his brother. They decide that they're going to try and make the first fluorescent paint. And after many trials and errors, they finally do. They called it Dayglow, due to the fact that it made objects shine as if they were in daylight.
Isn't that a derogatory term for like Mediterranean people?
Oh, I don't know. Dayglow is a festival.
No, I know. I was just thinking about like,
I don't know.
the Sean Connery, like you and your Dago mustache. Isn't it Dago?
No, Dayglow.
Oh, Dayglow.
Dayglow.
Okay.
Dayglow. Yeah, like the festival.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it made things look like they were glowing in daylight.
Yeah.
So they finally came up with a stable paint, something that wasn't lighting itself on fire, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because chemistry. And the first piece of clothing that they dipped in this fluorescent paint was Bob's wife's wedding dress after the wedding.
I don't know if it matters if it was
really
before or
doesn't matter.
after.
You could ask Christina. She'll tell you it doesn't.
That's what you
should
get when
never
you
do
marry
that.
a Switzer.
But yeah, they applied it to his wife's wedding dress, and huzzah, the first piece of high-vis clothing became.
I would have loved it. She turned around like, well, dunk your coffin in there now.
So it actually, and I didn't go too much into this, but now, back in, I believe it was either World War I, another World War I, or World War II thing.
Well, probably two, because if it was in one, it
was
would have been
definitely
before.
two. It was definitely two. Yep.
Yeah.
The U.S. Army was losing a lot of its troops via friendly fire in urban and suburban nighttime battles. So what they did was they took this fluorescent paint and they dipped little tags in it, and they would put it on the soldiers' uniforms.
Oh my God.
So actually they could signal to a plane above them, like not to bomb this location because it's
Oh my
up.
God.
Yeah, so they went on, to very practically use this stuff.
Holy shit. That's amazing.
Yeah,
wow,
really,
I had
really
no
cool.
idea about
really
that.
cool little fact.
Oh, I like that one.
I probably could have went into that for a long time, and there was a lot of information in that article.
Yeah, but still, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I definitely wanted to touch on it because it is cool.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
I finished up, if anything, with the complete opposite
Okay.
of cool.
Oh. Hot
The Neon.
Hot tamale.
The Dodge Neon.
That's a spicy take.
Yeah, I want to meet the son of a bitch that's going to die on that hill.
Hey, do you remember the SRT? The SRT-8?
Yeah, okay.
That was hot.
Yeah, I mean,
That was
a
hot.
broken clock is right twice a day.
Hey, I say that. I say that, buddy. Okay, Dodge Neon, the opposite of cool.
So it
I'm with
is
you.
the opposite of
I'm
cool.
with you.
So it was originally, so it was put out by, Chrysler, Dodge, Plymouth. It actually began as a concept car, and the concept car had sliding suicide doors. And all I put in parentheses was how. How does one have a sliding suicide door? right?
Like, is it like a reverse minivan?
Shame on me for not having even like looked it up.
It must
then,
be because suicide doors open the other way,
right?
and sliding doors are minivan doors.
Right.
That tracks.
Yeah.
Reverse minivan doors.
Oh yeah. So I guess like if the car went forward, the door would.
So the door in the front opened up towards the hood.
The hood. I guess so. Yeah. Right.
Ugh.
See, we're already starting off.
Throw the DeLorean doors on there and just call it a day.
It was eventually repurposed then and finally introduced in January of 1994 under the 1995 model year. It was quite actually like unconventional in terms of its availabilities in that it didn't have standard electric windows for the rear windows at all. Yeah. So like the front would have electric windows, but the rear...
You had to roll the back one. Oh, actually, I remember that because I knew a couple of people with the neon.
Oh, a lot of people did.
Yeah.
So it was in production until only and I didn't realize it was this short a period of time. It was only in production until 2005.
Yeah.
Until it was replaced by. Do you know what it was replaced by?
The Avenger.
No, roughly around the same time. My father had one of these.
Oh, the Magnum.
This was
No.
after my dad had the Magnum.
Dart. I'm out of guesses.
Caliber.
Oh, I would have never guessed that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that other ugly car.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dad, but it was ugly.
That's a rough one too.
Now, this is what I didn't know, and I find it interesting because of your statement about like we knew a decent amount of people probably that had them. Like
Definitely. They all had problems.
They all
steering problems,
everything.
transmission problems, axle, everything.
So it was not a safe car.
Nope.
In the slightest.
Not in the least.
So much of the crash test ratings, the results were either poor or marginal.
Cool.
Marginal, obviously, being better than poor, but still.
Don't want that.
So according to the IIHS in 2005, this is a quote, that the Dodge Neon had major problems beginning with its structure. This car is a disaster. The structure is poor. If this had been a real driver in a real crash, and what they were doing is they were simulating a crash with an SUV. If this had been a real driver in a real crash, it's likely it wouldn't have been survivable. If safety is a priority, the Neon is a small car to be avoided.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was that in? What was that?
That was in 2005. So that was the last
report. That report came
correct.
Into,
Correct. It was a sad car. We have, if anything, or at least I have, a distinct memory when we had gone to, interestingly enough, we were in Florida, in Disney, and it had to have been, I'm gonna say it was like 1998,
a while ago.
1899, whatever. My parents had rented a car, and we wound up getting a Neon, and we used to refer to it as the Campbell soup can because we were like, it's such a tiny car.
Yeah.
And we were parked at one of the parks, and we had left. And we're looking in the parking lot, and we were like, every fucking car here is a Dodge Neon. We couldn't. The only way we were able to find the car is because someone had left a pack of crayons in the back seat, not like my sister or I, but before us. So the crayons had melted into the back seat.
Oh my God.
So we were actively going through and looking in the back seat of every red Dodge Neon.
Oh, because no key fob.
No key fob. Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Sad day.
Let me tell you, kids, you don't remember the peril.
The non-key fob days.
Oh, the non-key fob days when you couldn't just beep, beep.
Where's my car?
It's over to the left. Go.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Did you still do the thing where you put it in your mouth?
I do.
Right. It works.
It does.
100% it works.
I don't know if it's placebo or
No,
whatever,
I
but
think
I
it's
find that it
physics.
does. I guess so.
Sonar, because it like bounces off the back.
'Cause it bounces off?
And gets a bigger spread. Yeah.
I guess so.
Because you give it a short radius to go boop and then off.
I mean, I find that it works.
We never had a Neon, but we had a Daytona. A Dodge Daytona.
Why am I forgetting what the
This was even before, I think, before the Neon or right at the same time.
Oh, wasn't the Daytona around the same time as like the Shadow?
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Oh, and it's so funny because they mentioned both of those, and they're like after the like attempts with the Shadow, and how the Dodge Shadow was also not a very
really?
well put together. No.
Oh, that's great.
A Dodge Daytona though.
Yeah, we had a Daytona, and I specifically remember like after the third or fourth year we had it, like the siding on the inside, not siding. The fabric of the
lining.
roof, yeah, the lining, thank you, was coming off.
Oh, yeah.
Like on the entire side of the driver. So like if you had to get in on that side in the back, you had to like quite literally lift up a curtain to like get on into this car.
My mother's Cutlass had the same,
same
thing.
thing?
Had the same thing. I remember where just in the middle it used to, because the glue would eventually like come undone.
Yo,
yeah.
New Jersey winter weather all the time.
My mother lost that Cutlass. Interesting you say that, to a nor'easter, and she was devastated by it. She had just sold it to a friend who was in Union Beach, and when it crested, the salt water ate away at it, and she was like,
Ooh.
Because my grandfather used to buy these cars, and at the time, it was I believe. Oh no, he would buy these cars, but he was like retired, so he'd like buy a car, drive it for like 2 or 3 years, and then be like, Rena, you want another car? And she'd be like, yeah, sure, Dad.
Was
All
it
right.
like handy? Did you like fix them too, or?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Papa Lou was good with that stuff.
That's one of the if you can go learn anything today, go learn how to work on cars.
Yeah, but you can't. And the only reason why I'm saying as such is, and this is from somebody completely like, mechanically, uninclined, inclined. When I had the Cadillac, for example, I could do the oil, I could do all that kind of stuff. Nowadays, dude, you need to go to school.
It's different.
Yeah,
it
because it's all computers and everything's all nice and tight.
And all the cars are different now.
Oh yeah, everything's tight and compact in there.
Hey, that's what I like. That's not what I meant to say.
Oh, so when I make a 1969 comment from a previous episode, that's all right. But you I say tight and compact this time, and
we'll take care of that in post.
Oh no,
I hope.
I'm leaving it all in. What I'm going to take out is your lies and slander about the Cranberries.
That's going to be a lot. Oh, that was just a short little.
Do you have to?
Yeah, do you have to? Please stay tuned for the socials, guys. We love doing this with you.
Yeah, we do.
Really.
And we want to hear from you guys a little bit more often, or a lot bit more often.
You feel free to tell us if we suck, because we won't even be mad.
Oh, I was gonna say, I don't know. I was trying to like process as to whether or not we will or we won't.
I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah, I do appreciate the honesty.
Yeah.
So yeah, let us know how we're doing.
Yeah, come find us at beersandpodcast@gmail.com.
If you'll notice, some folks that are at least watching us over on the YouTube, our background has changed a little bit. Why? Due to feedback.
That's right.
We're good with that.
We always want to learn and evolve.
Yeah.
Get better.
Get better.
We want to get better with you guys.
We want to get better for you guys.
But also for us.
That's the truth.
We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.